All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Traders Talk Tuesday, January 24th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Great to see all of us inside the Cyber Group trading room. John, Phil, Nicholas, Mario, Brian, and all of us otherwise. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. So, folks, I just mentioned today's Traders Talk, our weekly workshop. Hey, if you're a trial member joining us here for the first time, this is really the only education that we provide inside this live trading room, outside of the main classes, of course, right? But it's tough to teach and trade at the same time. To like actually provide real education, knowing why a stock, hey, like this BXRX is making the specific move that it's making. One of my students that I do coaching with private chatted me early in the morning. He's looking for me to go over GROM with him on the coaching call later today. Perfect. So, to him, I'd said, hey, send over those trades to me through email. And the same to be said for any one of us otherwise for Traders Talk, kind of more a public weekly group, Q&A workshop that we do inside our live trading room. So for Michael and Grant, Ron, of course, you folks know. But for all of our new members here, new students and trial members alike, just joining us for this week, hey, if you have any other questions or questions or trades that you'd like to send over, feel more than free to send it to josh@ctutrading.com. That's my email address right there. So, hey, that can go for all of us in social media. If you wanted to join us for this week live, just go right down to the link on the green banner below. But it's been a busy morning so far, right? We've had the GROM trade make a nice move up this morning. We had the Bed Bath Beyond trade, suddenly make a nice pop. It took a little bit early this morning in pre-market to get that going. The PYPD did not work out, so we'll talk about the duds along with the wins that we had. So let's go over the ones that we had from pre-market, then we'll go from top to bottom otherwise here, right? So, BXRX is actually making a strong move now. I'll pull up Benzinga here, the news. This is actually our top percent gainer going into the open, but I didn't have this on the pre-market watch list. It just didn't really seem that active at first, and then suddenly it kind of just popped and took off, shortly after 8. So the news out on BXRX, company trading higher after the company announced the outcome of its first interim analysis in a phase 2 clinical trial of their drug, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, in terms of like pharma news, what we do know is that phase 2, all right, that's coming along there, along the process between, the beginning applications point and FDA approval. There's, the beginning application process. Then from there, it's phase 1, phase 2. You got to pass a bunch of different primary and secondary endpoint trials. And phase 3, the same to be said, before finally potentially getting approval from the FDA. So with that, I mean, hey, BXRX, it's making a nice move here off that phase 2 news this morning. And there could be a lot more to come on this trade, right? So we'll definitely start by putting this on our watch list here. All right, just re-breaking above resistance off of 5. So, we talked about that as well in class earlier yesterday. And then even from last week in the phase 1 course, we'll try and continue that conversation in Traders Talk for all of us here. But, re-break over a big level, not just breaking over a big level, the re-break above it. So, that aspect of it here is allowing for a pretty nice, easy run over 5. We'll look to see if it can go higher. Looks likely. So, all right. So the only one I really did map out myself this morning, I didn't really have as much time today. I knew I was tagging in for Fausto once again as he's in Florida, with DTI and Tom Busby to do their on-site class there. So, I know he's having a great time with them. But, with that said, hey, he missed out on the GROM trade early this morning, didn't he? Actually, I can't say that for sure. He might be down there with them trading it early in pre-market. Who knows? But, this GROM trade ended up doing us really well, running up pretty nicely as it broke above 250. It re-broke above 3. Then from that point, topped off basically off of 4, false breakout off that level after 8 o'clock. And since it's, held above 350, it's been showing a couple of signs for a bounce there. Definitely going into the open, I'll put this on our main list. And while I have Benzinga Pro up, I actually didn't check the news out on this trade from yesterday. This was one from yesterday that we did really well on as well. So more of a continuated move. So actually, there was a little headline here from yesterday morning. Or no, I'm sorry, pardon me, not from yesterday, a little outdated, actually back from January 10th. That's the latest news headline here. GROM Social Enterprises issues shareholder letter and provides corporate updates. So, it could just be a short squeeze. It could be some people taking profits on a big short, and you're getting day traders like us, squeezing it up alike. So either way, and we're going to talk about this more in our weekly workshop coming up, we don't necessarily need news in order to trade the stock. Obviously, it makes us feel a little bit warmer inside knowing, there's a reason why the stock is up big, right? But we follow the big money. So not every trade that's running off of no news will we trade. If there's no big money to follow, then we have no business with it. But it's all about looking at level 3, level 4 here on my platform, the TradeStation Matrix here showing on the right side. So at least going into the open, it's now breaking below that 350. And that right there is kind of more of a red flag to me than anything. You'd really want to see higher lows begin to build again on this trade. But, hey, alongside the BXRX, I'll put this on our main list, just very active and very tradable, might I say, for like most of us here. Probably going to be more of like a level 2, maybe level 3 type of stock in terms of how we categorize them. All right. So, hey, let me just jump back for all of us on YouTube right now. That pre-market watch list I had posted earlier. We got a couple more of us joining us live right now. So we were going over the ones from pre-market this morning prior to 8 o'clock. INBS I had on there just kind of more in hopes of it making a nice pop. It was trending downward going into the 8 o'clock move. So that in its own is a bit of a red flag. It hasn't totally tanked after 8. I mean, small drop, but now it's beginning to actually tease us again and build back up towards that 125. Of course, this is the stock yesterday that ended up starting off at 30 cents yesterday in pre-market. I kind of looked past it at first. We normally don't trade these stocks below $1. We really don't. They don't make as clean or concise of a move more often than not. All right, well, this is the exception, right? So, this ended up making a huge pop going into the open further. We had our eyes on it from there, and it really did us, nicely. It popped up a little bit after towards 150, 160. And perhaps we'll cover this trade in our workshop coming up this morning. But nonetheless, though, I mean, hey, it's trying to build off of 125 still. It's still up technically 24% from yesterday's close. Now, given how much it was up yesterday, am I really gung-ho about it, like expecting continuation? That's a different story, right? I mean, I think it's still very extended from yesterday's pop from damn near 30 cents. So, that's where I say, like, yeah, I mean, if it ends up breaking support off of 125 once the market opens, then we'll write it off. But I don't mind kind of putting this on the back of our watch list for right now, and in hopes of this really continuing to hold off 25. Otherwise, it's going to drop easily to $1. Then from there, perhaps much lower and filling the gap. So that's where you got to be careful. Don't catch the falling knife. All right, so the INBS, the GROM trade, we had a nice little pop on Bed Bath Beyond. That was a nice little move. Going into the 8 o'clock move myself, I had this on our pre-market list. It was kind of flat, albeit up a little bit, so I thought there was a chance like the meme stock people could, see this up big and try and give it a pump. Now, the thing is, though, is that I checked Benzinga. There's no news on the stock. And I checked the other meme stocks, and they're not doing anything. AMC, Carvana, GameStop, none of them are making a good move. And actually, it's like very funny. It was like good timing. The second I posted that inside our live trading room, it was like kind of at its peak here, and then right back down, slam down. This is actually a violent shake all the way down as low as like 325. So, now at this point, it doesn't necessarily look good, right? Kind of trending down, pretty flat going into the open. But, hey, it's up 15%. Perhaps the meme stock people see this on like Wall Street Bets, Reddit, and all that. So, I don't mind giving this a shot again and putting this on our main list. I like the GROM trade the most, though, for being honest. The GROM and the BXRX. Those two are going to be on the top, the main watch list here. All right. That's right. I forgot. PYPD. So more of a dud, unfortunately. PYPD. I don't think this had. Oh, actually, pardon me. Talking out of pocket there. Actually, now that I recall, I think the stock did have news. Yeah, so this company had news themselves, and actually, this is in relation to not phase 2 clinical trial news, but also, but phase 3 actually. So PYPD trading higher after the company had said following a recent Type D meeting communication with the FDA on phase 3 data, it now has clarity regarding the regulatory pathway, bunch of big words, toward potential NDA submission. So, obviously not official NDA or FDA approval or submission, but ended up making a nice pop early in the morning, and then from there just trended down. So I was more hopeful of this making a bigger move going into the 8 o'clock session compared to like the INBS. But otherwise, though, I mean, the PYPD here, I like the news on it, but it's very flat right now. So I'm not fully committed to this trade just yet. After the open, if there's really nothing that's making a big move for us from our main list that we'll put out, then we'll check this again. Write it down, put it on your side list, and maybe we'll come back to it later on. One of us here on YouTube, actually. Let me get to that now. So on YouTube, joining us right now, asking, are you looking at FFIE today? It's up 50. It was up 50% yesterday. That's right, from 60 to just about $1. They had closed out at 92 cents. It could pass over $1 today. Well, we'll take a look. That's a good heads up, good reminder about that. I forgot. I'd said just before, we normally don't trade these, stocks below $1 here, right? But FFIE definitely made a nice pop yesterday. So it's a good reminder. If it was showing better direction going into the open, then I'd be more likely to put it on our main list. But for right now, I'll kind of keep this on the side. I am going to write this down though on my notepad. I didn't have that on my notepad. Good reminder. All right. So with that in mind, though, let's go from top to bottom, though. Let's see what we could add to our watch list. Hey, we have 4 on there already. We have a good list already here, folks. We don't really need to, put too many more on there right now. But let's see what we got. AXLA, like I said, with the cheapies, but I'll kind of look at this one right now. 66 cents, but it's trending kind of lower there. Hollow, this thing looked like a disaster early in the morning, not just on the regular chart, but also on book maps. So given how illiquid the order book was, this I stayed away from for sure. So I'm happy I did. Maybe after the open, it could pop. I mean, it is up big, so perhaps the order book will fill in a bit more afterwards, but I would see what else is out there, though, right now. I'm not fully committed to that. I like the other 2 on the top of the gainers list a lot more. INBS already on our list, right? BIAF, I was going to get to this. So now it's dumping back down a bit, so I'm not too keen on that. But going into this morning meeting here, I was thinking about putting this on our watch list. It was pushing back up pretty nicely, but obviously I didn't really focus on this at the top here with you folks. So kind of our first look at this as a team now at this point, really shaking back down and holding under 2. So I feel like this could be more of a side list stock now than anything, the BIAF trade. ARDS, it's like a little slow, more of a level 1 stock, but it is up technically 17%. It's got a funky daily chart, though. This thing had a big pop just from the end of last year into the beginning of this, and it's just been shaking around like crazy after. So hasn't made any good trades since. We haven't focused on this until this morning. So technically, it is up 16%, and I do like the order book, right? It's on a good spread, good order book right there, relatively liquid. All right. Doesn't hurt us, at least, to put this on our main list. All right. Let's see what else we got, though. Seeing if there's anything looking a lot better, though, in terms of trend. Yeah, Sumo, SUMO Logic. It's kind of just trending on up, grifting on up a little bit higher here. But again, the order book is not really doing a whole lot, or not really showing a whole lot, I should say. All right, so folks, just let me know if there's anything that I'd missed that's up or popping right now that I guess didn't make it to the gainer side just yet here. But otherwise, I'm going to hop over to the losers list, seeing if there's anything looking just as good, if not better here. Got the GNS from yesterday. That'll at least show from yesterday's move that we had, right? Ended up bottoming out at first after the market opened up, but ended up reversing, making this huge slingshot back up. Broke above 4 here later on and ran up higher from there. So, this will likely be one that we'll cover in our workshop later on this morning. Again, Traders Talk, our weekly Q&A. For anyone joining our trading room right now, relatively late here. Again, that's coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern time this morning. So if you have any other questions or trades that you'd like to send over, my email address in there one more time. Just shoot me a quick email, not a private chat for that, actually. It'll be easier for me to go through email for these questions for our Traders Talk workshop. But send it over before 11 o'clock. And all you got to do is be inside our live trading room. Just no need to go anywhere else. Don't need to click any links like we do for class. So just at 11 o'clock, I'll come back on after we finish up the audio broadcast, and we'll be good to go. All right, let's see what's on the loser side otherwise here, though. GNS is not looking too great, and it's not shortable, so tell you what, that was the only stock I wrote down on my notepad from the loser side this morning. Here's the FFIE down like 4+%. Peloton, PTON, side list stock. It's not really showing much activity in pre-market, albeit it's down 4%. It's shortable. If the market drops, that could be something to think about. All right, folks, I think that's just going to wrap it up here. I'm going to check Benzinga Pro. I'll check social media, Facebook Live and YouTube and Twitter one more time. That's right. I got to include Twitter more often, right, with you folks there, because now we're streaming on Twitter as well. So, hey, if there's anything just up, down, left, right, more than 5%, just type it in the chat boards here. PYPD might be trying to make a slingshot back up. I got a chat on YouTube there. Yeah, it's trying. And again, I said I'd kind of come back to that if anything. It's not making the biggest move here at this point, but it's given us a little hope still. So I don't mind putting this on our main list now. The thing is like, hey, I got a question from a student in class last month. This was in relation to like scanning the market. And again, like we're not teaching as much here, but little free game for all of us right now. There's a reason why we focus on the gainers and losers lists. It's because other people are more likely to focus on that. It's the big shiny object in the room. Oh, this stock's up 34%. Oh, it must be coming out with great news. Oh, this could be the next big, 500% runner. Now, that's not what I'm saying, but that's what I'm led to believe other people are thinking. So we follow not just the big money and the smart money, folks. We kind of follow the dumb money too. We react off of it. So, that's where we say PYPD was a dud early after 8 o'clock this morning. It trended downward. It continued steady, but maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance this could eke on up a little bit higher towards perhaps 150 to act as resistance, or otherwise the VWAP roughly there off of 139. All right, so I don't mind adding this one here. So otherwise, I think that we're just about good to go. We got 6 stocks in total to work with going into the open. Last call for all of us on social media, at least. If you wanted to join our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the green banner below the stream to get yourself set up. But otherwise, though, we're going to do our live workshop inside our trading room coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So if you have any other questions that you'd like to send over, make sure to do that. josh@ctutrading.com is my email. Again, I'll be tagging in for Fausto, I believe, all throughout this week up until Friday, if not mistaken. I'll let you know otherwise if I hear anything. But, hey, I appreciate you folks sticking with me each and every day, and, of course, now each and every morning this week. I'll catch back with all of us on social media later on this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern.